All right, this is lecture 19 this is the final week of this class, and this is lecture 19. Next lectures will be mostly presentations. Today we are going to discuss mostly about your project. But before we discuss, we have a guest, Jane. She's here to have an announcement for job opportunity. So this is and I personally think this organization is doing so much, which is very important for everybody to know. So Jane, you can say what you are coming here for.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hi, all. I'm Jen. I'm actually a campus organizer with CalPERG students, and I'm here on behalf of our national organization, the Student PERGs, to tell you a bit more about our full-time job opportunities. So for folks in the class right now, I just dropped a link to our interest form. If you want to learn more about our jobs or you're interested in applying, you should fill that form out, but also tell you a bit more about our mission from the Student PERGs, some of the wins that we've had in the past, also what the job looks like as well. And then I'll briefly share a little bit about why I do this work as a recap from what I said before the class started. But y'all probably know that students have been at the forefront of movements to build a better future for our country throughout history. I could go off on a long tangent about a bunch of examples, but for short, the civil rights movement, the environmental movement, the LGBTQ plus movement, young people have always been front and center at building a better future from our world, for our country. And that legacy that young people have is what fuels our mission today as we help students get energized and organized to keep building a better future. So for example, our New Voters Project campaign this last fall helped mobilize thousands of students to register and turn out to the polls. Our team nationwide made over 390,000 personal get out the vote reminder contacts, and we've seen a huge increase in youth voter turnout since compared to 2016's election, which is pretty exciting. We've also been mobilizing students on campus and online to tackle climate change by convincing colleges to commit to meet their energy needs by 100% renewable energy sources. You can see in my background, it's our campaign right now. You might have heard about it earlier in the year. And we are building real momentum. Here in California, we won an American Climate Leadership Award for successfully getting the entire UC system to commit to 100% renewable energy, which is pretty exciting. And we've also done lots of work to take action on plastic pollution by getting UC Berkeley and UCLA, and then again, the entire UC system to eliminate single-use plastics on campus. And we're continuing to do that work and get similar commitments at campuses across the country and also at the statewide level. We all want to live meaningful lives in a world that's greener and healthier. And that is the future that our campus organizers work to build every day. If you want a career working with great people and gaining real skills and making a difference on important issues right away, this job might be a good fit for you. I will drop the link in the chat again, and I'd love to know, just like with some thumbs up, either reactions or input, like physical thumbs, that link is working, just because I know in the digital world, links don't always function. Okay, looks good. And then while you're filling that out, go ahead and put your name and your contact info in. I just want to end with a brief note about why I do this work, because I actually also have an engineering background. I said this before class started, but I studied engineering because I wanted to reduce pollution in our environment. I care a lot about environmental issues. And I realized that policy shapes a lot of decisions engineers make every day, and that the issues that I cared about, like plastic pollution and most importantly, climate change, we didn't have political action at the degree that we needed to. So I wanted to get into the advocacy side of things. And with CalPERG, we've been winning a lot too. So that's been exciting and motivating as well. So I hope you join our team. or intern with us or volunteer with us in the future too. But thank you so much for listening to me talk about our jobs, about our work, and thank you again for letting us come in to make this announcement. I hope you'll have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Jen. Also, we'll put the link in the class website or the campusware so that they have the records to do that. I
Okay,
see some
beautiful.
chat window just in case there are any. No, there's no questions. So we will just say
Perfect.
that to thank you to you. Again, thanks, Jen, for coming here.
Thanks so much. Enjoy y'all's class. Bye.
Bye. All right. So again, today is the last class where actually I'll speak. I always say that every class that I should not speak more. I rather have you guys speak because that's where I enjoy the most. But I ended up speaking a lot. Okay, and I regret every day at the end of the class. Oh, not many students speaks too much. So let's have this class as more of a discussions about your struggles, or your what you like, dislike. Or I mean, it's open conversation. And I'll also speak a little bit more outside the scope of this class because I want to also get a sense of what it takes to work in a class like this, also as a project or everything else. So you get a broader prospect about working in an engineering firm as well as an engineering company. But before that, I will also want to have some discussion related to your presentations, which is due on Thursday. So we'll just give you some reminders about what's coming. And I also wanted to put these pictures. There is a intention behind it. As you see when she's speaking, and you have a slides where you have entire slides is filled with pictures, and you have a simple message at the bottom. You are connected with that message. Okay, so that's what I also wanted to emphasize, that when you're preparing your slides, pay attention to how it is going to be perceived. Okay, so every time you don't, less is more when you are talking about presentations or slide. So the more information you have on the slides, the less it is going to be, uh, if less information somebody can absorb. So always make the slide one message per slide. You can have 20 messages or 20 different slides. Don't compress into, don't make more than two informations in the same slide, unless it's absolutely needed, like where you are making a comparison or other stuffs. So that's another things to start with here. But first announcement, no, this is not the learning objective. Because I copy from the last slides. That's why you see those left over. I just want to say that I promised to give you group project comments by yesterday, but I didn't. I'll continue to work on it. I just started working something else now. So and also I'm grading your midterms. We finished the last three questions, long questions. Now I'm getting to the short questions. So I'll release that as soon as possible. Um, Again, this will not affect your um, um, report anyway, so that's why I'm kind of a little bit more relaxing on that. If you had a finals and I know that you have to know what you did well, I would rather done that first. Slide presentation is due on Thursday this week, not next week, this week. um, and make sure that you prepare this one. I just want to edit live that way. um, and and then if you're I know that many students don't attend the class, and they also the time zone is not feasible for them. So if your team wanted to record it via Zoom, you can send me the file itself so that I can upload it on YouTube, or you can upload on your own YouTube accounts and send me a link, whichever. I'm fine with that. But if you want to present in the class itself as a live, it's also fine. Okay, so if you have all three options, so just let me know whichever way you are comfortable. Um, I just want to say that what we have remaining is quiz 4. The average is 9.33 out of 10. So everybody did, most of you did very well. And I am very happy that you can cover, whatever is covered, then you can answer the question based on that. And so I will take best 3 of the 4 quizzes. I know that 51 students attended quiz 4, even though the total class is 58. So that means 7 students didn't appear the quiz 4. But even you don't appear the quiz 4, it's not a problem because I'll take 1, 2, 3 quiz, whatever your grades are. But I'll take the best for 3 out of 4. And for the homework, think that this is your homework will be like 100% nearly. TA is grading homework, so obviously he has certain preference, but I told him that no, grade for efforts and approach. Don't look for the correct answers, all that. So assume that you will get more nearly 100% if you have submitted and put some effort. Obviously, if you didn't really write anything, all that will not give you points for that. But just we are not looking for to take points off for if you have given effort. And I always, in my view, I grade midterms liberally because I don't I value your effort, and I also value that you are given a try to give a effort for what you learn. And most of the questions related to homework, but I have also noticed that many students didn't also um, um, attempt at some questions in the long questions, which was a little bit surprising because they are very similar to homework. But again, as I said, there are a lot of things that could be difficult that I don't perceive. Doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist. So I see that problems, but let me know if you have any difficulty so that we can at least try to address those concerns. If not this year, for sure next year when we offer this course again. So if your inputs are important, I always value them. And also you have this I think this week is your last week where you can give feedback, so make sure you give those feedbacks. Those are important for us. Again, tip for presentation, this was just a schematic of how much time you have, 10 minutes, and you try to finish it, but this is not by guidelines. But I want to give a simple message, how you can make your presentation effective. The Any presentations where you have more than one message per slide and bullet points saying these are the stops, those are not effective presentations. If you have 3 bullet points, make them 3 slides, okay, and remove each bullet point as a title. So instead of speaking about that 3 bullet point, you speak 1 bullet point at a time, and then there is a picture, representative picture that explain it. Okay, so put main take-home message as title. That's why I put it here. And for instance, the message was climate change. So I want to say that climate change is real and climate change is affecting all of us. And I put these pictures. And obviously, if I put, I know this is polar bear, we all know that they are losing their habitat. It's affecting them. But think for a second, how much it, what kind of message it get into you when I saw this message image. Okay, and let me change certain thing. So when I change this one, okay, let's see. Um, I change this to this way. Now you see a simple trick that make the slide looks more like effective. Okay, because your message is there, but now it fill up with entire space. So that simple thing that can change your slides, just so that check all those. And then I give you second one. Now you have to compare this. Both pictures are related to climate change, but the difference is here there is a person standing, there is a human standing as opposed to a polar bear. It's not that you should not care about other animals, but we are selfish. We humans are selfish. That's the reason we are destroying the planet, or where we are. So you got to understand, if we show pictures that relatable for us, it is going to make more impact. So anytime you should put a pictures, if you have a way to make a perspective as a human context, put that there. That will make it more effective. So again, put one pictures, preferably people on that pictures. Okay, so this both have the same message. Climate change is affecting all of us, but this one is more relatable because we have people. Okay, something that we can relate to. Um, so those are the few things I wanted to say first before we present. And second thing I want to do is I want to show you a slide. Or we had a group of undergrad students work with us, freshman students, this quarter for a class called Engineering 87. I don't know how many of you have taken this class as a freshman. Any of you took this class? Um, I don't see any yes. So let's say none of you took it. Those are for engineering students. And the reason for those classes are is when I didn't do my undergrad here, but what I heard from everybody is that in the first year or freshman year, um, first of all, freshman year, is this the first year? I again all those things I don't understand. First of all, why is a freshman year when there not not many, it's not men are taking this class? Why it has to be first year? Or can't say that freshman year, fresh human year, or whatever it is. But anyway, the point is, I don't understand all these, freshmen, sophomore, all those. I always mixed up. But every time I say freshman, I always feel that what freshman, a man who is fresh, or what are this? I don't make any sense to me, that whole language. But what I'm trying to say is that many engineering students who join in the first year, they take all these physics, math, or all these requirement class. You don't take any engineering class until you are second year or sometimes third year. So imagine you declare your major that you wanted to take first of your engineering students, and you wanted to do engineering in, let's say, environmental engineering or civil engineering or mechanical, but whichever way. But first year there is no difference. You don't really know what degree you're really working on. So the idea of engineering 87 class is to give them that perspective, having them work with a faculty or lab for a 1 quarter, so that they can work on anything that the lab is interested in, and they get that exposure of what's really lab work in civil and environmental engineering is about. So this is the first year I work with a student group on that particular class, and I asked them to work on green infrastructure because that's what I teach and I do work. And so obviously I had a PhD students who is very engaged, and so we gave them specific tasks. So they did some projects, analysis of a database, and then they present that one. So I'm going to share this one, share their presentation with you with the context of how you can, obviously we gone through multiple revisions of how they present all that stuff. So this is a very final versions, so that you get a perspective of making your presentations. And second thing I want to say is that this is also an opportunity for all of you. If you want to work with any lab or anything, this is something you could consider for working with any professors. um, and if sometimes there are opportunities that they could know, they don't think of it until you ask. At least for me, I know that Emma has approached multiple times, different professors, and she is working or started working in our lab, but we didn't have much things to that time to work on. But I'm always thinking, how I can do something that Emma can get a chance to work on. So I'll show you, share this presentation with the scope that it will help you prepare your own presentations. So let me new share. All right, so this is again Google Slides. So again, this is we have gone through the revision process. Okay, so this is a final version. So these are the 5 students who took this 5 freshman students, and graduate students Renan Valenkas is our PhD, my PhD students. He helped them working on this project. So we give them specific tasks and they do the analysis. So the idea here is that, as you see, the title was a questions, is a something that make people think. So pathogen removal in retention ponds, does climate matter? So that's the title. And so we deliberately put a question so that people can think of it. Now, what is this now? Pathogens, we understand. Retention pond, they may not understand what is retention pond, so we put a picture at the bottom to show that, hey, this we are talking about this, so they can relate to it. If I have to do this, redo it again, I'll look for another one where people are taking shower, or there's the kayaking or something, so that you can relate to people. So that's the first slide. They put overview. I don't really expect you to put overview because that's not needed for a 10-minute presentation, you don't need to remind them what you're going to do. Just go get on with it. So again, this is the argument that you have the main message. Many cities are running out of water. That's the main message I want them to get. And then I put two pictures so that it can relatable because it's the people. Other way, sometimes people put is just a one water drop or just little bit of tap water just dropping dripping. So those are things I see, when you talk about water scarcity. But every time you have to present about things, think of people because that's where you're making effort to change our policy. On the bottom I have a simple message. Okay, so the many cities are running out of water, but if you want to achieve sustainability, you got to use non-traditional source such as stormwater because that's the projects they have. So that's how I put the smaller, or we put the leading message that lead to the next slides. Okay, so this is something you should think of when you are presenting your own presentations. Again, this is not the only way. I'm just giving some one of the way that is effective. You have any way you want to present, but make it clear. Then we talk about that stormwater. We want to use it, but this is polluted. So I saw pictures that this man is taking his son. I liked it because I did that multiple times, not in the rain because we don't get rain. But again, this is something that connect with you. Uh, and then I says, the right side is in Santa Monica Beach, so that's where many of the stormwater that goes from UCLA and there. So you want to show that if you don't treat them, those pollutants will contaminate or affect us. For instance, any surfer, any of you who are in that beach, they can be affected by after the storm event. And when you get exposed to these pathogens, what happens? I put a picture that is dramatic enough. This person is holding his stomach because that means there is stomach upset. That this person is going to have diarrhea, or that's what I want them to get the message. So that's how I put these pictures and say that exposure to pathogen can cause diarrhea. And there are many types of pathogens and they can all have effect. So that means it's important to remove them. So you see how the storylines are changing. You got one storyline after. These are all introductions, part of the introduction. So you have to tell the story that way. Then I have the solutions. I say that to treat the stormwater, there are green infrastructures. Those are used and some of them might heard about this one first time. So that's why I should put some pictures that they can relate to. So here you can see there are pictures, detention pond or some kind of ponding zones, and this green space, and you have this parking space, not parking, the roadside pavements, all that is green infrastructures. So these are designed to remove pollutants from stormwater. So I give them a image. Then we get to the main point. Among all of them, detention pond is one of the green infrastructures. And here, all the stormwater get in. You see this picture. So on the left side, you have um, let's see where it is. The pipes. That's where stormwater goes in on the left side, and that's detention pond. Their pathogens can be removed. And how they get removed? By sunlight, because sunlight can inactivate a lot of pathogens that is in water. But that removal could be, they could also removed by different other processes. But then I saw here, these are the different design parameters. If you have temperatures, it might affect because pathogens in our body, they need warm, but our body temperature is 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So that means, that's the temperature they are more comfortable with. So if you are warmer water, that's going to be more effective for them to grow. Same thing, if you have more nutrients, they might grow more. If you have more particulates, they can block the sunlight. If you have vegetation, that could block sunlight. So there are multiple different things you can explain in the processes. So this is your mechanism diagram or mechanism figure where you can explain. Let's say you are talking about in your projects, talking about landfill. You put a landfill picture and you explain that all that concept so that they all understand the questions. Then these are the research questions. These are your material method. You say that these are the objective. Our overall objective is this, but these are the questions we are interested to answer. So I put those questions. And then I say, what's the method? So basically here we collected data for BMP database and we collected temperature and precipitation data from NOAA website. and we arrange them in a way that we can correlate pathogens removal to all these variables. Then I explained what's the calculation we did. Log removal, that's basically C in, C effluents by C influence. These are the data you get from BMP database. What is coming, incoming, what is outgoing. And then you also say that what does that mean? You calculate this value, positive means something, negative means something. Negative means it's not removed, that means become a source. Positive means it's removed. It's effectively, it's become a sink. So then you have results. So they did all the data analysis and then went and plotted for them. So this is the graph. The main message of this graph is at the top. So that what it says that some retention pond remove more than other retention pond, and we visually show them. If that zero line you see, if it is there, that means it doesn't remove or it doesn't grow. But if it's less than zero, negative, that means it's a source. That means there are more pollutants coming out of the system than what's coming into the system. So that means it's become a source. And then if it is far away from the right towards the right, that means they are removing it. So based on how far the median value is outside, right side of the zero value, we say this is high, medium, and low removal. So this is just visual way to present it. And then we ask the second question, are the pathogen concentration matter? Or the pathogen type matter? So now as you see, we have 4 different pathogen types we write in the y-axis. On the x-axis removal, again, 0 means no removal. Negative means uh, negative removal means they are becoming a source, and positive means net removal. As you see, for all the medians are towards the right, so that means they are all removed, but there are not much difference between those median value. So that means it doesn't really matter what pathogens you have; they are all removed the same way. Then what about the increase in rainfall intensity? So as you said that we x-axis is the mean precipitation, so the rainfall amount received in that area. Y-axis is the number of or the amount of removal. Again, what you see that they are all distributed, but if you draw a um, like a base fit, the straight line, it's obviously there's scattered data. It's expected for a field data, and what it means that if the precipitation increases as overall, the log removal decreases. The reason is you have more rainfall, more water, and as it goes to the store retention pond, it doesn't stay long because you are just flowing. Most of them are leaving the system quickly. So this is a log scale because the y-axis is a log scale. That means it's actually exponential decay in a linear range. So we got the number. We got say, okay, what rate at which the precipitation can affect it. Uh, and same thing for temperature. And now the x-axis is temperatures, y-axis is log removal. The same thing as you increase the temperatures towards 30 degree, that's where they become warmer, they feel healthy, they feel like growing. So that's why you see this decrease in removal. Again, each data points has each from different detention pond or the same detention pond at different age, and the color of that data point means precipitation value. So we are mixing them all together here. So now we go back. These are the 4 questions we asked. So what the answers are? Now you bring back to the audience saying that these are the answers. Do all retention pond remove pathogens equally? No, because we show that some differently than other. Does pathogen types affect removal? No, because we saw that. So we just summarize everything. Does rainfall rate affect removal? Yes. Increase in rainfall rates decreases removal. And the last one, does temperature affect? Yes. Increase in temperature decreases removal. And we explain what could be. So what does that mean? All it means that it was going to affect the design of the treatment system. Then the challenges, what are the challenges? If I have to do this again, I have to put some pictures, I have to put some evidence so that you have not just like 2 words in a slide, but this is just to show that this is a way you can frame your presentations. Then what future thing can do, because anything you do in a quarter is not sufficient. There is always things to do. You have those things in mind, discuss those. So I just explained that these are the few things we would be able to do that in futures. We didn't check those variables, so we'll check those. And this is I'm always take pride of publishing with undergrad students, and this is something I strive to do. So these students, they did work a lot, and then obviously Renan has worked a lot, so we'll continue to work with them to finish this data analysis, and we'll help them write, and we'll not March 31st, but some point we'll publish it. So this is just to show that how you can present, and they talk about what we learn. That's for them, it's just to give idea and those presentations. So the main point I want to come across from this slides presentation is few things. First, you learn how to present a story. Okay, you don't need a lot of things to present. Just because you wrote a lot of things in your report doesn't mean that you have to present all of them. Just tell a story, short story, effective story, because they did a lot of other things. They don't have to put that there because you have 10 minutes. If you try to cramp a lot of information in one slides or one presentations, you will most likely miss the audience, lose the audience. So be aware of that one. And second thing I want to say is that no matter what, don't compare with other slides or other people presentations. Just tell your story enthusiastically. It's more important than the content itself, because the person who is going to present, I mean, it's obviously you might be nervous if you are doing the first time. It's okay, but once you tell the story, you should people should think that no, you are into that story. You have thought about that story, and it come across when you are really enthusiastic about that project. So tell those two things. And third thing is, this is a class. I want to also highlight my next class next quarter. We are present. The class is green infrastructure. What you learn here is exactly what the next class is about. Okay, so designing green infrastructure, understanding it, and so this class you learn more about waste management. Next class you learn about a very specific waste management, that is stormwater, how to design it, how to harvest it, for different alternative use. And the class is very similar to this class in the sense that how it is formatted. You have 2 to 3 homework up to midterms, which is the first half, and after that is all project. And you have all learned how the process work, so you can be more efficient. So this is something, if you want to take, that's another things that that's the next quarters. I know that many of you need PTE if you are not in civil engineering, but just send me email. I'll send you the PT if you want to register. So with having said that, all that, I one of my biggest, let's say what this is the end of the class in the sense that what I wanted to talk. But I also wanted to talk about a little bit about this class. I have certain expectation in this class. My only expectation is that you should have the freedom to work on the projects that you care most, and you should just learn how to write and present about any topics that interesting to you, and I'll make the project such a way that there is something material that you cover from the class can be useful. So ultimately I just want you to enjoy the whole process of working in a different projects. Okay, not just taking a normal class is taking homework. I put some theory and then you examples, and then you use that example to solve something. This repetitive process, I personally do not. I know there are value for that, but this is something you'll be doing rest of your life. You'll not be doing homework. You'll not be doing everything that 90% of the class that prepare you for. But what you do in this class, learning new projects, challenging yourself, reading, writing, this is what going to your life in rest of the any consulting job, any job, okay, in some way or other. So that's why I wanted to make sure that at least some of this class give you some kind of flavor of those, so that it helps you prepare for those jobs in futures. And third thing is my long term goal is that this is a dream. I'll tell you that in someday, sometimes it will happen. This is something I'm very proud of, is that I took this this engineering 87 with the intent to publish with my undergrad students, and it was not me who is enabled that. It is Renan Valenka, the PhD students who was, and he supported, he he worked with me and he enabled that one. So I also feel like, at some point I wanted to publish with the students or group of students in this class on this topic. Like whatever the project you write, you just continue to work on it for another few days beyond this class, and then we publish, and it's doable. And obviously, I'm more comfortable in stormwater. The reason is that's something I do as a research. Waste treatments is my research, but not directly. It's something like I use waste product for stormwater management. And so I'm always looking for, I look for students who are interested in, as I said, I'm saying this one just when I see Emma's pictures right in the screen, I think of how I can do something so that Emma can have that opportunity. And the reason I do that is because, one, this is something I remember for the rest of my life, because in Penn when I was a postdoc, this is a professor, very old professor. He came to department. He is like retired for a long time, and he came to this like this is a lecture series where one person they invite for a topic, and that's like a big town hall, and they present. So this is like the big deal. So this person came in and he was sitting there, and I was a postdoc in the department. I was applying for a job, a lot of rejection. So I was pretty, rejection hurts no matter what. So I was questioning myself, what should I do, all that stuff. Then he was sitting there, and I see this old man sitting, and I ask him, you know, what are you doing here? Because obviously he's here for this one, but I want to know. He cannot even barely work. Why is he here at this, so effort? No. Then he said that I was a faculty in this department 15 years ago. I retired, or 15, 16 years ago, and I come this day only just to see what's going on, what the people are interested in. And so we had some chatting, and then I asked him, you've been faculty for so many years. Now, what one thing that strike you the most, if you want to take away from being a professor at so many years in in a university? He said, "Well, I published so many papers. I published all that stuff. I did a lot of this work, but I forget. These are things I don't really care at this point. After a point you publish so many papers, all that doesn't really matter. You get some recognition, that also doesn't matter. After a point, you'll be tired of that. Not that those are not important. It's just what you remember, which I value, that is the people that you connect with, and the people that some people that go on to do things that they would not otherwise have done had not they met you. So the people you enable doing something is that the best thing if a teacher's life. So I think again, as I said, I don't want to go in person about my life. There are a lot of things I don't think anybody in my entire generation in the place where I am from can be at UCLA or any place had not I met some professors or teachers in the way, because I never had ambitions to even study. So I always think of that every time I see students. I think of what is going to make a difference in the student's life, and I always think that you giving you freedoms to work on a topics and just believing in you that you can do whatever you can is more important than actually teaching you any theory. So that's the whole idea of these classes. That's the whole idea of my green infrastructure classes. So I hope that somewhere or other you get that message. Again, I don't make it like explicit always, but I do enjoy these two classes very much because of that. Because I know that I get to see you guys in a different way, in the sense that you discuss about different stuff without worrying about homework. Do I get the answer right or wrong? Those things kind of go away from this class and the second half. So I just hope that when you write your projects, do not worry about your grade. Just enjoy writing what you think. And same thing when you present, just present what you feel passionate about. Don't conform to a one kind of thinking, just because let's say climate change is important, but I don't really care that you have to buy that things. I'd rather have you question that, and think of ask me question, ask everything, because that's how we learn. And just say what you feel, and then educate yourself, learn from it. So it doesn't matter what question you have, doesn't matter what your approach is. You got to make everybody understand, or at least try to understand and explain yourself, and that's how the education is going to improve. So having said that, I think I'm looking forward for your presentations and also your project. So I will take few minute break. When I come back, you can disappear if you want to, but I'll be here to answer any questions related to your own projects if you have any projects, and we'll discuss that so other team members can hear that. That way you can apply the same concept for your presentations. So with that, I'll stop recording, but we'll be back at this is 4:50. So let's be back at 5 o'clock. I know that one group I told them that we'll discuss about the project, so I'll give them first priority. So if you are that group, then let me know. And we'll discuss your project at the first when we resume. But other than that, if you don't want to be here now, it doesn't matter, because you can go on. I rather have you work on your project. So let's meet at 5 o'clock. All right. So I'll pause it.